Welcome to FuzzFeed206, everyone. I am VesperBat, joined here by my colleague.
That's right, Singular Project Grizzle. No CPD-80 this time.
So wait a second, did you change your name to Singular?
No, that's just me.
Okay, let's dance it off here. I don't know if anyone can see it. This is in fact a Bowser shirt. So, Flip Morse, you're the best. Thank you. We don't have CPD-80, so without him bringing the fire team down, let's just show people how a SIVA Crisis Heroic is rocked.
Game. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think I did, what was it, up, down, left, right, A-B start for infinite heavy ammo.
Pretty sure the Konami code works.
You mean this game isn't produced by Konami?
No, I'm pretty sure all games
are. Yeah. Hey, I have a question for you.
Why are you going to the arms day shop? What are you doing? No,
what weapon are you going to get from Banshee?
No.
I'm probably not going to use it, but I will use it during the patrol. Off we go. So, it's FuzzFeed206, the Seattle Police Switch stream, playing Destiny, and starting off on a very serious note, and we'll get some dialogue on some other stuff too, but it does need to be said that our hearts do go out to the people of Manchester, England, the young people who were at the Ariana Grande concert when it was attacked. This is something that we obviously watch very closely here in Seattle, as do police agencies across the world. And it's just horrifying that someone would commit that kind of an act, and with the specific intent to kill young people, specifically children, girls attending a concert, a pop concert. So this was the subject of much discussion here in Seattle because we're a big city as well, and we're watchful, and we understand that it's about being prepared, communicating, working with our partners, not just here in Seattle with the other city departments, but also at the county and state level, and importantly the FBI and our other federal partners. And so we had a news briefing just yesterday afternoon expressing the sentiments that I just did, but also reassuring people that this is not something, unfortunately in this day and age, this is not something that is that much of a surprise. It's something that's happened with a frequency that shows us that we really can't prepare enough. And in fact, coincidentally, pure coincidence, by the way, we had an exercise, a counterterrorism exercise yesterday, where our SWAT team was working in conjunction with the King County Sheriff's Office, the Port of Seattle, the Washington State Ferries, to essentially land on a moving boat with our SWAT resources and address any terror threats that might seek to harm people on one of our Washington State ferries. So pictures on Facebook.
Yeah, separately we'd met recently with some of our partners in I guess regional law enforcement, both federal and local. Not too long ago to sort of talk about how to let people know when something horrific and large scale, terrorist event, were something like that to happen. What do you do, and how do you make sure as many people have as much info as they need as possible? So yeah, this is something that's always getting talked about in our line of work, and cities everywhere, and something we're very mindful of.
Mindful, and certainly, yeah, it's just one of those things that law enforcement has changed over the years. Our responsibilities have grown, and you can't just call it in. You have to be ready. You have to think about these things. And so the fact that we do these regular drills and exercises and meet with our partners, because if you're making this stuff up in the middle of a crisis, you've got a real problem. And so naturally we communicate with police, not just here in the States but abroad as well. And again, everything is focused on public safety. We've got big events here in Seattle. We have concerts. Ariana Grande was in Seattle recently. And so it's something that we take to heart. It's something that we take incredibly seriously. And, and we want people to know. We want people to know that, this is something that we prepare for. And we are more interested in the prevention than the reaction, obviously. One of the things that Assistant Chief Robert Murner said during this news conference, this news briefing the other day, was that, yeah, we prepare for it, we work towards it, we want to make sure that we've done everything we can to ensure that it doesn't happen, but we cannot do it alone. And even though for these big events we have officers who are visible in uniform, we have officers that are in plain clothes, so they might not be readily visible to folks. It's so much better when we have people who are engaged, people who are being watchful, people who are not afraid to report something that seems suspicious, that seems out of the ordinary. And it's because that's where we're going to get some of the best information. It's just people who are alert and understand that, hey, look, it seems weird. Let's have the cops take a look and check it out. And that's what we do, especially at these large events. Why take any chances? Do you have anything to add to that project?
No. Did we talk about Chief Murner's background specifically in relation to terrorism events? Did we mention that?
Actually, we didn't. Why don't you go for it?
Why don't you take it away? You were there with him yesterday, right?
Yeah. Okay. So Chief Murner is an assistant chief. He heads our Criminal Investigations Bureau. He recently just got selected to be the police chief of Portsmouth, New Hampshire. So congratulations, Chief Murner, of course. If you're listening, we'll
sure
we would love to have you on the show. Open invitation for the real Bobby Murner to jump on FuzzFeed. So he's going to be the police chief in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. And he came to Seattle via Boston, via the Boston Police Department. And he was there. He actually was present during that marathon attack and worked nonstop those intervening days as the state of Massachusetts, the city of Boston, and their federal and regional partners worked to find the terrorists associated with that attack. And certainly some folks may be familiar with a recent movie starring Mark Wahlberg called Patriots Day. And Chief Murner is actually the inspiration for the Wahlberg character. That character was actually a composite, largely based on Chief Murner and his work during the marathon. And as Chief Murner will say, he was actually the guy who was at the boat and pulled up the tarp and saw one of the surviving terrorists there. So Chief Murner is certainly qualified to talk about terrorism and how folks react to these types of incidents should they occur. One of the things that he talked about specifically in regards to Manchester, and it should be noted that it's something that we have dealt with on a smaller scale, but also in a significant way, is victim reunification. Because when an incident like this happens, it's the worst thing someone can even imagine. And so living it, knowing that your loved ones have been affected by it, may have been injured or transported to a hospital, we as government, as police, as first responders, emergency medical services, and firefighters cannot forget the importance of reunifying loved ones and family with the victims of such an event. And we had a situation on a very large arterial in Seattle. It's called the Aurora Bridge. There's a bus that crashed with a duck tourist vehicle. It was a mass casualty incident, and a lot of the injured were college students, and some of them are international students. So for us, that was I think a significant priority to ensure that we were alerting family members to the status of their loved ones and getting them connected, and in some cases providing advocates to help them, cope with loss, because there were fatalities. So Chief Murner, with his experience in Boston, with his experience as a police executive, and certainly as a longtime homicide detective, I think understands and is in a position to explain just how important not just the prevention is on these types of things, and the information sharing, and the catching these things before they grow into an awful terrorism event, to what do we do should the unthinkable happen, and how can we mitigate some of that damage. And it's not about living in an environment of fear. It truly is not. It's about being certain that when something like this happens, if it happens in your community, that you're doing everything that you can to look after those who've been affected, to provide them comfort, while still keeping your eye on the ball and ensuring that those people who committed the act are stopped, so that the work that they've done does not continue. And so having Chief Murner here in Seattle was an incredible resource. We're going to miss him. And certainly the state of New Hampshire and the city of Portsmouth are very lucky to have him. And I think that pretty much covers it. And what does it mean for us here? It means that we have the same conversations. We continue to train. We continue to educate. And specifically for this weekend, where we've got a big Memorial Day festival, the Folk Life Festival, that means we're going to have added staff. So we're going to up staff, not just at the festival, but citywide.
So you've been in policing for a while. I mean, terrorism is certainly not anything new, but sort of awareness of it and concern over it certainly is, I think, probably it's fair to say, heightened from decades ago. And what's changed in terms of training? I know, obviously, not getting into tradecraft or anything like that, but I know that contact teams, for instance. I mean, that's sort of more of a Columbine. Came out of Columbine, but I mean that's something that's sort of more actively trained now, and in terms of things to look for and information sharing. I mean, what else is different?
That's a really good question, and it really gets to the crux of it. And the fact of the matter is, society has changed. Some of the challenges that police have changed, or that police face have changed. So police really have needed to evolve and adjust our tactics. And so when it comes to these types of events, yes, we do train for the worst. We had a recent training this past winter, so just literally months ago, and even someone like me who specializes in public affairs, I go through the same training. And the idea was that you're dealing with people who have superior firepower, are intent on inflicting as much violence as possible, and you basically have to step up and deal with them. And in how you train to do that, with your colleagues and the tactics you employ, you basically go in with what you have. And sometimes if someone is inflicting that level of violence, and specifically, I think an example here is the stuff we saw in Florida with Club Fusion, San Bernardino. We do not have the luxury of time in these situations. So the philosophy is act, use what you have. We do have tools that we can leverage, for these events. Be smart, make a difference as far as keeping the public safe. So don't be rash, but be thoughtful, but be quick. And these are concepts that I think scale to different events, whether it's a shooting investigation to a mass casualty incident that may not involve gun violence. So for us, again, and I'm sorry to say, but a lot of these lessons are rooted in Columbine, where the criticism was that officers waited too long to take action, and in the intervening minutes, people who might have survived that attack, for want of emergency medical services, did not. And so, those are the overarching, fundamentals of this type of training. This, we will sometimes call it rapid intervention training, but it's, that's what you do after something terrible has happened, or while something terrible has happened. Our goal is to not let it get there. Our goal is interdiction and prevention and catching someone before something terrible happens. This is the Ahmed Rassam story, which, going back into the memory banks, this took place a long time ago. I think his nickname was the Millennium Bomber. So we're going back about 17 years ago. Guy is trying to cross the border from Canada into Washington State, and he is using a little known border crossing, which is weird. Like, most tourists wouldn't use it. And the answers he gave the border agents they were just bizarre. And he looked very nervous. And so they took some time, they did an investigation, and ultimately this led to a search of the car, which revealed explosives, which, as I understand, as I remember, were intended for LAX, was a possible target. And so that's Los Angeles Airport, but who knows, where they might have been used. And so, for us, that's a very valuable lesson. And so if people can, and I'd like to quote one of my academy instructors, Detective Scott Kawahara, who coincidentally works in our arson and bomb squad as a bomb squad detective. Yeah, he does get a robot at work. We don't, but he has a robot. So he was very fond of saying, be prepared, not paranoid. So don't live your life in fear. Go about your life, have fun, and do the things that people do, but, don't be oblivious. Understand what's around you, be aware, live in the present, and just sound advice that can protect even against mundane things like cell phone robbery. You know what I mean?
Uh-oh.
So just for people to understand that and be aware of things and not just be oblivious. Uh-oh. Oh, run away! Run away! I'm just going to do a quick lap here when I come find you. I see you guys.
Oh, you revived. All right.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, I did. I just need to survive that encounter. And so, yeah, so thank you, Scott, for the words of wisdom. They have lasted. It's something that we use with the public. But again, this isn't about generating fear. It's about generating awareness. The last thing we want is for people to skip fun events or things that they would ordinarily do or life celebrations because something bad happened. And while those incidents are words can't describe how horrifying or tragic they are, it's truly imperative that people continue to go about their lives, go to school, go to work, have fun, go to the movies, go to concerts, but do so just knowing that if something is bizarre, it could be, like I said, something as mundane as someone wanting to break into a car and steal a backpack that was left inside of it at the movie theater parking lot, or it could be something worse. We had a demonstration a couple years back, and demonstration is a fancy word for protest. And someone who was protesting noticed a man, going to his car, getting some flares. Flares are very dangerous, especially if they're thrown at you. They burn at a very hot temperature. And I thought, that's kind of creepy. No one, brings flares to a protest. Well, this guy did. And so the person who was protesting alerted officers who were there to help out. And, we checked on this guy, and not only did he have flares, but he had other fireworks, and then guns in the trunk. It's like, dude, why would you bring stuff like that to a protest? So he was arrested, the gun was seized, but the moral of that story is, we're on your side, we're here to help, and you might be there to protest your dissatisfaction with, how things are, but at the end of the day, let's not let other people with other intentions take away from the message and put everyone's safety at risk. Does that about cover it there, Project?
That covers that. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's pretty heavy material, but this is a stream that we've committed to, and we've been asked, okay, so you're streaming, that's fun, but what if something bad happens? What if something happens that either your department is responsible for, and the public has questions, or what happens if something bad happens in the world? Are you guys gonna not do this? It's like, no, I mean, we're gonna do it, and we're gonna address the topics. And I think it's fair to say that what happened in Manchester is on the minds of many of us. And so, yeah, we're gonna discuss it. We're gonna showcase what we do to train, and I think we've covered the topic as promised. Yep. I mean, that's our commitment. So, I think there's one other thing I wanted to talk about in regards to just being prepared. And this is something that is, again, specific to our city, and that's gun violence, shots fired, and shootings that our department's been responding to. We had a homicide that took place last night. Do you want to jump into some of the basics there? project?
Yeah, it was, I think around 9 last night, called the Alki area in the Southwest Precinct. It's a beach. There had been just a report of a shooting there. Officers got there. One man, I believe was 26, had been shot, and he later died from his injuries. Gang unit responded out there. Homicide was handling the investigation. Believed to be at this time a targeted incident, not a random shooting, which it's sometimes a very important distinction for folks, just to so that people know that investigators have some idea about why something happened. Not necessarily always as much as they'd like, but they have a starting point. And we've got a lot of detectives investigating. We've got a lot of officers working emphasis areas. We've had some different shooting incidents in different parts of the city, and those all continue to get investigated by detectives. And whether there's any linkage, whether these are sort of interpersonal disputes. One of the things we get asked about a lot in our office is, is this a gang war? Is this a gang, two gangs beefing, that kind of thing? And it can be a bit more complicated than that. One of the things we talk to reporters about sometimes is there are distinctions between, two gangs in a dispute over territory, or something related to money, or illegal activity. Sometimes it's two people who are both in gangs that have a dispute, which has nothing to do with the gangs themselves. They're just for whatever reason not getting along, and sometimes that can lead to shootings or other violence. Don't know, what these are, but we've certainly, it's certainly been a question we've gotten a lot, and our commanders, officers out on the street, etc., are getting questions about from people in the community.
And Seattle is we're a big city, but it's a city made up of neighborhoods. A lot of folks know each other. Yes, we've got crime, of course, but as far as the violent crime goes, we are a very safe big city. However, the shootings, the shots fired incidents, gun violence, it's something that we are going to watch. We are going to be very vigilant about this. We're monitoring it. We've got a data-driven approach where we analyze the shots fired, where they happen, when they happen, what neighborhoods, who's committing the violence. If we know, obviously, generally we talk to folks. Our detectives have great relationships with the community. We will analyze forensically any evidence that we collect, the shell casings. We work with the ATF to get the shell casings tested, so that way we're connecting bullets and guns to people. So that's important to know. I think the other thing is, of course, how we put our focus towards these types of crimes. And it's not just like random patrol. That doesn't make any sense. We actually focus on people. One of the things that we know is that people who commit a shooting might be shot at or shot. People who have been shot at might the next day or the next week turn around and shoot at other people. There's not that many people in Seattle who are going to pull the trigger on another human being. And, it's our job as investigators to find out who those people are and really work up good cases against them and get them off the street. So we're upstaffing in some of our neighborhoods. So people who live there, might see some additional officers who are just out on patrol, but specifically trying to be, in the right place at the right time, so to speak. And of course, one of my favorite stories is, the gang unit being at one of our libraries and, literally hearing a shooting occur and being on scene and making an arrest. And so it's just understanding your community. It's understanding some of the dynamics. It's not about making sweeping generalizations and just the nuances of this type of crime. And so the gang unit is led by Lieutenant Markarth Green, who's absolutely brilliant, one of our most talented investigators. Now we're going to do a patrol. One patrol.
Yeah.
So that's, if you see more officers on the street, that's why.
This one's a research assignment, audience.
I think...
We need your light.
Oh yeah, let's do this one, like a bunch of ants. We're going to do one more patrol and wrap it up. There's one other thing I wanted to talk about. What we do yesterday. Not puppies. Where did we go yesterday?
Let me see. We went to work and went to the office. Probably went to the bathroom.
For the gallon of coffee that we drank?
Yeah. Midday. Oh, that's right. We went and visited our good friends at Bungie Studios.
Yes, we did. We traveled across the pond to beautiful Bellevue. And we're hosted by Deej and Cosmo and Team Bungie allowed us into their house, so to speak. And it was just an amazing experience. Experience.
I know we signed an NDA, but I want to talk about Bungie. They're not going to be happy about this. Destiny 3, all VR, it's going to be amazing.
One of the things,
you
of
heard
course,
it here first, folks.
Or not. That's how rumors get started. That's also what we call
that's how we'll
fake.
know we have an audience. Yeah.
We call that fake news. Hey, so one of the things that we did talk about, seriously, is just community, because the Destiny community is so fantastic. And the community here in Seattle, specifically the one that follows us on our social channels, we are very much grateful for all the support, and just kind of sharing some of the stories about how we engage the people who are interested in our particular example, public safety, and their example, Destiny the game, and video games in general. So it was a very educational and informative experience. They are truly talented people, and I have to say that it was something that I will remember for a long time. So I was very grateful for that opportunity. What was your big? Well, yeah. Let me just say I have a lot of respect for the work that they do, and there are some similarities between managing a lot of different departments like we do in Seattle, and theirs in managing a constantly evolving product, which is Destiny the game. So yeah, it was super cool. I actually felt like I had a little street cred. You know what I mean? I played the game. I met Deej, met Cosmo. It was cool. No big deal.
It was like when you take a 5-year-old to Disneyland and they see Donald Duck walking around. That's VesperBat right there.
Or like you go to the Willie Wonka chocolate factory and you fall into the river of chocolate.
Yes,
no,
exactly. No, because I know you're talking about the Johnny Depp one, and then I get sad inside.
I'm sorry.
It's not a defensible position. It's awful.
The Johnny Depp Willy Wonka is in so many ways superior. Squirrels. Have you seen? When's the last time you saw the original?
I don't know. Yesterday. Recently enough.
Yeah.
Recently enough.
Yeah. That was creepy. It was certainly a movie that captured the zeitgeist of the 70s, but come on, man. Nah. Hey, you might not be a fan of Jack Sparrow, Might not be a fan of Edward Scissorhands.
The Edward Scissorhands is great. The Jack Sparrow was great the first time, but I think Tim Burton broke Johnny Depp. Man, I think that's something you just gotta have to cope with.
Next thing you're gonna tell me is that the Tim Burton Batman is better than the Christian Bale Batman, right?
I would never say that, ever.
So, guys, or Guy. Hey, Guy. We do have a viewer for what it's worth. We have reached the time allowed for the stream.
Talking about Johnny Depp's descending career portion of the stream.
Yeah, and also I wanted to say, Luke Timon, Chief Engineer, thank you also for joining us and taking the time out of your very busy day. Didn't we? I don't think this is NDA because this happened outside. As we were walking up, we were being eyeballed by Luke Smith. We were being mean mugged. So yeah, again, amazing experience, and we as the Seattle Police Department are proud to be part of the overall community here in Seattle, but also the Destiny community in Seattle and beyond. So thanks for the support. Thanks for watching, and this is the part of the stream where we do last words. What you got, project?
I don't know. I have nothing profound to add. How about that?
Are you gonna see the new
movie?
Covenant movie? Yeah.
I'd like to. I'm like 5 movies behind in movies I want to see. I haven't been to Guardians of the Galaxy yet.
Oh man.
It's this hashtag parent life.
Yeah. No, I'll probably see it. So we can talk about it next time if I see it over the weekend.
whether we got to a movie.
Okay, I want to say odds are no. Odds are no. Odds are no. Yeah, I don't have any last words. I'm looking forward to seeing that movie, but we'll see.
Shut the office down for a couple hours, and we'll all team building exercise.
Because nothing bad will ever happen while we do that.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's it. Memorial Day weekend's coming up. If it's hot, and it might be here, make sure you wear your sunscreen. If you're going to go swimming, understand a lot of these rivers and lakes are freezing. And so don't swim alone. Don't all jump in at once. Have buddies. Use the buddy system. Be smart. All that. And also don't eat any potato salad that's been out, sitting out for a while. That might end poorly for everyone. Yeah, that's what I do. That's what I do. Okay, so everyone, have a fun, safe holiday weekend, and we will see you next week. And in the meantime, eyes up, Guardians.